Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time, and I'm here for another herb profile that's going to go into my long list that I've been working on for the past 6 years of the benefits of different herbs and spices and so on. So I'll be linking to the full playlist down below if you'd like to look up more, and I'm always adding to this all the time. But anyway, holy basil, also known as Tulsi, which by the way means incomparable one, is one I've been meaning to do a video on for a couple of years, and I just keep forgetting to get around to it. So I'm getting to it now while I can. So I'll be putting the botanical name here so you can know what to go by when you go to look it up to do your own research on this herb. Because as with any of these things that I share with you, there's always plenty more to learn, and it's always best to know according to your own specific needs what is going to be best for you. Which, by the way, I'll also be linking to a video on how to do your own research down below, because that way you can research specifically for your own needs, like can you take this with this kind of medication or that medication or in this particular medical condition, and so on and so forth. These are all very important things to know, and I can't go through every single possible combination out there, so it's always best to know how to do your own research. So make sure you check that video out. Anyway, let's get to the benefits and uses of holy basil. And yes, it is in the basil family. It's related to all the other basils, but holy basil in particular is called that because it is the highest in medicinal uses, and this is backed up by science. And I do look these things up not just on more natural based sites like Dr. Axe and so on, but also PubMed and PMC on the National Institutes of Health to make sure I'm seeing things cross over the appropriate information. And today it's Gertie that's being noisy. You just never know. They're all taking turns. So let me start off with listing some of the conditions it's really good at helping with. So that would be bronchitis, bronchial asthma, malaria, diarrhea, dysentery, various types of skin ailments or diseases, arthritis, different diseases and stresses of the eyes, chronic fever, and insect bites. Now, the next part of this list is all the different actions of holy basil. So it is anti-cancer, anti-diabetic, antifungal, antimicrobial, hepaprotective, which means it protects the liver, cardioprotective, which means it protects the heart, antiemetic, which means it helps to reduce or stop vomiting, antispasmodic, analgesic, meaning it helps with pain. It's adaptogenic, and this is great. This is one of the top herbs out there for being an adaptogen, along with ashwagandha. Even borage is a good adaptogen, and what that means is that it helps your body to adapt to stress. That it doesn't matter if it's a mental or emotional stress, if it's physical stress, any type of stress that's being put on you, it's going to help your body to better adapt and be able to handle it. And then it's also diaphoretic, which means it will help you to sweat. So it helps you to sweat out toxins and so on. I'm going to read another list that's going to coincide with the first part of the list that I read, but just to be a little more clear on this, and just in generally speaking, so it's good for cardiovascular health, so not just the heart, but your overall cardiovascular health, your digestive health, your cognitive health, so that has to do with anything to help, that's whether it be depression or stress, as I mentioned, helping to stave off dementia, Alzheimer's, and so on. It's good at overall detoxification of the body, which of course being that it's protective of the liver, that falls right in there. It's great for your circulatory health, your overall eye health, and your oral or dental health. And when I think about that, I think not just like taking it internally, but making a tea out of it and using it even as a mouthwash. Now, this is basically a short list. I could go on and on and on about the many benefits of Tulsi, but I recommend you look into it yourself, because this video could be very, very long if I do that. So I was trying to cover a lot of this more generally, but let's talk a little bit about the ways that you can use it. Now, the most common way that Tulsi or holy basil is used is in the form of a tea. And that can be even a cold infusion. Like, it's one of my favorites to use for a cold infusion in the summertime. Especially it mixes well with catnip or with anise hyssop, which has a nice licorice flavor. And holy basil has a different aroma and taste all its own that I would say is much sweeter than your regular basil, such as your Emily basil and other such type basils that you use to cook with. But you can also cook with holy basil. It's just going to have a sweeter flavor that's a little different than that. And I love the taste and smell of it. I love the taste and smell of all basils anyway, but holy basil is very distinct in its aroma. And even when I've got it dehydrating, just the way, even though I do in the summertime or whenever we're getting plenty of sun like we are today, I do all my dehydrating right out here. And just walking by on the deck, I can smell that wonderful aroma of the holy basil. And it's just, there's something about it that's also just the smell alone that's very calming and soothing and just makes you feel happy. And it can be used as an essential oil, whether it be adding it to skin related things. So because it is good for helping to heal up any kind of skin ailment, you can add the essential oil to your different salves or even the powdered herb, or you can make an infused oil. Remember, there's a difference between essential oil and infused oil. And I do have a video on that, by the way, that I'll link to down below. But you can add the holy basil to any of your other herbs or use it by itself to make an oil infusion that you would use to make your different types of skin creams and salves, and it's going to be excellent for that. And obviously hot tea is a great way to drink it as well. It's just a nice flavor. Even though I do grow holy basil, because I have to do it in the greenhouse, I do not grow a lot every year, but I've decided after this year, especially now that we'll have more covered areas back here, more greenhouse areas, I'm going to be making more pots because I find for me it grows best in a pot in the greenhouse. So even though I've tried it various ways, all my basils always do best in pots in a greenhouse. So I plan on really ramping up the amount that I'm growing of this because it has so many wonderful benefits. It's just great for your health in general. So that's what I plan on doing next year. And I just use the seeds from my plants. I let them, when I'm done cutting them back, I just keep cutting them back and dehydrating, cutting them back and dehydrating. And then at the end of the season, when I know it's starting to get to that time where I might not keep getting new growth, then I let them fully mature, get their flowers and their seeds. And then I just, when they're fully dry, I don't even bother taking the seeds off and saving them separately. I just strip them off the plant and then just put them right back down into the soil and let them, and then they'll start again next spring. And then just a couple of warnings that I'll throw out there that you should look into. And again, look deeper into this for yourself. But holy basil is one of those that you should not take while you're pregnant or nursing. And because it can have anti-clotting properties, you should not take it a full 2 weeks before any kind of surgery you're going to have. Don't be taking it as a tea or in any other form during that time, just to make sure it's all out of your system so that your blood will properly clot as is needed if you're having surgery. So just some things to keep in mind, especially if you're on any kind of medication that already does thin the blood, then those are some of the various things you need to look at. So that no matter how healthy any one herb, spice, or root is, as I said earlier in the video, it's very important that you research this for yourself, especially if you're on any kind of medications or if you're pregnant and nursing, and even age. Sometimes age can play a factor in this, so always good to know this. And again, check that video out on how to do your own research, and so that you can get a better grasp on these things. But generally speaking, I do highly recommend holy basil and trying to grow it for yourself. Because even though you can buy it in its dried form, it's one of those that just, if you buy it somewhere else already dried, the flavor, no matter the quality of the brand, the flavor is nothing like the kind that you can grow yourself. So either used fresh in a cold infusion like I like to do, or in a hot tea, or even dehydrated yourself. The flavor when you're doing that yourself, it just is so much better. And I always dehydrate all my herbs and never go above 115 degrees, and a lot of times even lower for more delicate herbs. Like holy basil, I consider a little bit more delicate, so I might dry that 110 degrees, and you can go lower, or you can hang dry if you live in a place that's not as humid as ours and not as rainy and wet. You can hang dry your herbs in any very airy, warm area, and that would be a really great idea. I talk about dehydrating a lot, using electric dehydrators, because in most cases, hanging things to dry here is just not feasible because we are so humid and so wet, and we just don't get the dry heat to dry things out in a quick amount of time where it might actually mold before it can fully dry. So remember, it's all going to be dependent on your area. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed my video today on holy basil, and please share with us down below in comments. Do you use holy basil? What do you use it for? What is your favorite ways to use it? Now, I personally have never cooked with it. I like to keep it for more medicinal uses, for teas and so on. But if you have, share with us some recipes or ideas on how you cook with it. Do you use it? Do you use it in place of regular basil? I'm very curious about that, so please let us know. All right, well, thanks for watching. Take care, and God bless.